What's up, guys? So in this video, let's talk about reverb. My favorite! So if you've been around my channel for any amount of time, you know I love reverb. I love 80s music. It's what I was like raised on. I love, movie scores, all those types of things. Tons of reverb, just lush sounding, just heavenly sounds. I love it. One of my favorite things, and this is something, to be honest, I just kind of stumbled on myself, and I know this is a basic thing, but I just found over the years, I love using two basic reverbs that are subtly different. I'll start every mix with two reverbs for drums and for vocals, because most of the time in a modern worship setting, the band people, like guitars, keyboards, they got reverb built into their own thing that is really a part of their tone. I rarely see a need to add anything to it unless it's like an acoustic. Things like that are, a little different. But for your basic band elements, I've found that using two reverbs subtly across a mix, that they sound different. Don't use the same reverb. You can tailor those reverbs to the sources that they're being used on. So let's talk about that over the board. And if you like these settings, hit the link in the description for my free reverb cheat sheet for the exact settings that I use when I set up every console. All right, so let's talk about using two different reverbs, and that's it. I have three set up here, but in this mix, I'm only using two. A lot of times I'll see people that will just use 17 reverbs, and they'll all have some grand specific purpose, and no one can tell. I just really believe that less is more when it comes to reverb if you use it intentionally. And so on this mix, I just got two set up. Could it be better? I'm sure. This is just a good starting place. And so here we are. On number one, we have a longer pre-delay, 2-second decay, dampings at 3K. Basic stuff. And then on our second reverb for the drums, the first one's on for vocals, and the second for drums is different, that it has a shorter decay and a 20 millisecond pre-delay, dampings at 5K, and it's, low cut's way on up there, high cut down at 7K. Where are we at on the first? And the low cut's at, 181, high cut's at 5K. So basically what I'm showing you is that they're subtly different, but I'm able to use them independent of one another and serve specific purposes. So let's listen to this mix without the verb, and then with. I'll bring it in. It doesn't sound bad because our balance is there. So I feel like whenever they brought down into the verse is when it really started needing some verb to fill out the space. I feel like that's where the snare poked out in kind of an unflattering way, and it just didn't sound natural. So let's bring these verbs in too loud so we can really hear what they sound like, and then we'll bring them down where they need to be. All right, let's bring them in. So my rule of thumb with reverb, so that it doesn't become a distraction, is that you turn it up to the point that it's too loud, so you can hear what the verb sounds like, and then you bring it down to the point that it sits in there with everything else and you don't notice it. It doesn't stand out as an effect necessarily. It just supports what's there and adds some life to the dead stuff. So that's how I use two reverbs over an entire mix. I don't usually add verbs on instruments if they don't really need it, because so often different instruments like guitars, keyboards, and everything will have their own reverb built in, and so you just don't need to add more. So try this. Don't overthink it. If you're using a whole bunch of effects, for all different purposes, that's cool. But maybe try less and see if you really miss it, and see if all of the different effects really serve a purpose, or if you can recreate that with just one or two. So yeah, hope this has been helpful. If you want to steal my reverb settings, hit the link in the description, and I will see you guys in the next one.